When you really stop and think about it, the human brain is just mind-blowing. It's this 3-pound universe tucked inside our skulls, responsible for every single thought, every action, every wild idea we've ever had. It's a subject so complex that it's not just about science anymore. It really gets into philosophy, forcing us to ask these huge questions about who we truly are. So to even begin to grasp it, let's just start with the sheer scale of what we're talking about. Okay, check out this number. 10 trillion. It's almost impossible to really picture, right? But that's the estimated number of neural connections, the little sparks firing away inside your brain in any given moment. The sheer scale of that network is absolutely astronomical. And it's our first big clue as to why figuring this thing out is such a monumental challenge. There's a great analogy that gets used a lot for the brain, and it's perfect. It's like an iceberg. What we actually know and understand, that's just the tiny little tip peeking out above the water. The vast, vast majority of how it all works, all those deep, hidden mechanics, well, that's the gigantic mass of ice hiding under the surface. And that brings us right here. We're dealing with an unfathomable machine. Even with all our incredible technology, we're really just scratching the surface, still in the very early days of understanding it. To put that power into perspective, just think about these numbers for a second. We're talking about 10 billion brain cells. They're all connected by a nerve network that, if you could stretch it out, would be 10 miles long. It's processing a billion bits of information every single second, and its memory capacity is over 1,000,000 times bigger than our most powerful computers. And all of it, is packed into an organ that's only about 3% of your body weight. That's just incredible. So, given this unbelievable power, the source material we're looking at today puts forward this really unique, kind of philosophical idea. It describes the brain as an epitome of the universe, and it backs up this big idea with 4 core claims. Okay, so the first claim is a big one. It's cosmic. The idea is that the brain is the epitome of the universe, that the fundamental laws that make our brain tick are a direct mirror of the laws that govern the entire cosmos. It's like the universe in miniature. The second claim takes a more spiritual turn. It suggests the brain is the epitome of what the source calls the greatest creator's wisdom. So in this view, the brain isn't just a biological machine. It's the ultimate physical expression of some kind of divine intelligence. Then there's the third claim, which sees the brain as, almost like a time capsule. It's framed as the epitome of time, arguing that our brain somehow holds a record of the universe's entire history, spanning billions and billions of years of cosmic change. And finally, the fourth claim. This one says the brain isn't just a passive library of information. Oh no, it's an active creator. It's a processing factory that can literally create things out of nothing, and through our thoughts and actions, actually transform the universe around us. So when you put those 4 claims together, they build to this really powerful conclusion, at least from the source's perspective, that the potential of the human brain is fundamentally limitless. If the brain really is a factory that can create from nothing, well, then it follows that anything we can imagine can actually become reality. Now, these are some pretty grand philosophical ideas, but they exist right alongside some very real, very practical questions that scientists are still grappling with every single day. So let's shift gears a bit and explore some of the deep mysteries of our own experience that we just can't explain yet. Think about this for a second. A surgeon can open up a cranium, right? They can map every single neuron, every synapse. But when they look at the actual physical brain tissue, all they see are cells, chemicals, biological stuff. They don't see a memory. They can't point to a thought. So where are they? Where do they physically exist? The source material also brings up another really interesting puzzle, that massive, massive cognitive gap between us and other animals. It poses the question, if we're all just products of the same evolutionary tree, what explains this gigantic chasm? Why can humans build spaceships to land on the moon, while a donkey, a very intelligent animal, can't even figure out how to build a simple cart for its food? What is that difference? And what about our inner world, our emotions? We can track the chemical cocktails in our brain, the electrical impulses firing. But what is joy? What is that feeling, really? Where does sadness or that deep sense of yearning actually come from? Just knowing the mechanics doesn't explain the experience of it all. And this mystery, it extends to literally everything we feel. That instant recognition of a sour taste, the feeling of a cool breeze on your skin, or that completely overwhelming, intoxicating feeling of being in love. How does our brain take all this raw data from our senses and create these incredibly rich, personal, subjective experiences? How does it do that?
Okay, so all of these profound questions about our consciousness, our creativity, our emotions, they all lead the source material to pose one final, ultimate question, and it's about the brain's very origin. And so we end up right back where we started, with a question. When you're faced with an organ this fantastic, this intricate, this mysterious, a thing that can contemplate the universe and its own existence, the source material leaves us with this final thought to ponder. Could a structure like this really arise naturally? Could it have evolved all the way from a single-celled microorganism? And that question brings us right back to that iceberg, reminding us just how much we still don't know, waiting for us just beneath the surface.